You know that gnawing feeling deep in your gut? The one that creeps up in the quiet moments, right before sleep steals you? I used to dismiss it, calling it paranoia. But this time, it wouldn't let me rest. It began subtly. My fiancée, Julia, started smiling at her phone in a way that was unfamiliar. Not the casual grin she'd give over a funny meme or a video from her mom. This was different, private, intimate, like she was reading something written solely for her. We were only a month away from our wedding, buried in seating charts and flower arrangements, and at first, I convinced myself it was nothing, but I couldn't ignore the growing unease. I'd catch her on the couch, phone angled away, fingers flying. When I asked, "Who's that?" she would laugh softly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "Oh, just Ben," she'd say. "He's an old friend going through a rough patch. He needed someone to talk to." I wanted to believe her. I really did. After 5 years together, trust wasn't something I threw away easily. But then the signs multiplied. Suddenly, her phone had a passcode. She'd step outside to take calls. Her voice hushed and quick, always ending the conversation the moment I approached. She'd flinch when I reached for her phone to check a recipe or our calendar. Subtle, but I noticed. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. One afternoon, she left her phone on the counter while showering. My hand shook as I picked it up, telling myself I'd find nothing, just a harmless misunderstanding. I knew the passcode by now and opened it. At the top of her messages was a thread with Ben. I opened it, heart hammering, lungs tightening. The messages weren't just friendly. They were playful, nostalgic, intimate. And then came the words that cut me deeper than I could have imagined. "I think about you every night. I wish things were different. I miss your arms around me." I scrolled through the conversation, hoping desperately for a different story. But it was all there, late-night confessions, heart emojis, longing. My fiancée, the woman I was ready to marry, had been secretly seeing her ex. I set the phone down, numb, staring out the window. I remember the first time I told Julia I loved her, the tears in her eyes, the warmth of her hand in mine. I remembered our dreams, our plans, the life we imagined. And suddenly, it all felt like rubble beneath my feet. She came out of the shower, towel wrapped around her, humming softly. Her smile faltered when she saw me. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I simply asked, "How long?" Her gaze dropped, and she whispered, "I'm sorry." No denial, no excuses, just silence thick enough to suffocate. I told her I couldn't do it. I couldn't marry someone who still had someone else in their heart. She cried, begged for forgiveness, pleaded that it hadn't meant anything. But I had seen the truth. Calling off the wedding was the hardest thing I've ever done. Telling our families, our friends, returning deposits, canceling plans. It felt like drowning in shame and disappointment. The weeks that followed were a blur of sleepless nights and empty rooms, haunted by echoes of laughter that no longer felt safe. But slowly, the pain receded. Clarity came in its place. I realized I had loved not her entirely, but the idea of us, the life we imagined. I had ignored the warning signs, telling myself love would fix everything. I began spending time with old friends again, picking up hobbies I'd abandoned, and slowly relearning how to be content alone. Months later, I ran into Julia at a coffee shop. She looked softer somehow, tired but sincere. We talked, awkwardly at first, then honestly. She apologized once more, and this time I could see she truly meant it. I forgave her, not for her, but for me, because clinging to anger only chained me to the past. Stepping out into the cool evening air, I realized I wasn't broken anymore. I was free, and for the first time in a long time, I felt hope, not for the life I thought I'd have, but for the one I could create from now on. So, if that gut feeling ever creeps up on you, don't ignore it. Listen, sometimes the hardest truths are the ones that set you free.